the trade's changed my life, and I'm forever grateful of it.
It's tough because what are you going to influence people to do if you've never done anything?
Exactly, man. It's scary
Yeah.
how many jobs are about to be completely axed by AI. Man, I hit rock fucking bottom. I never realized that a heartbreak could be that fucking devastating. And my dad just sat me down and gave me the most important piece of advice I've ever received. He said,
Hey guys, welcome to Tradio, the podcast giving tradies a space to speak up, not just about the job, but about what really goes on behind the scenes. Because while we talk a lot about tools and technique, we don't talk enough about what it takes to mentally stay in the game. Okay, so our guest today is someone who's not just building things on site, but building change across the industry. Jesse James is the co-founder of Trade Collective, an initiative dedicated to connecting the next generation to a meaningful career in trade. Brother,
yeah.
awesome to meet you, bro.
You too, man.
I had a little Instagram stalk.
Yeah.
A little bit jealous, not gonna lie. Just tell us a bit about yourself, bro, where you grew up and a bit about your background.
Yeah, man. So I grew up here on the North Shore in Auckland. My old man's a Sparky. I had big dreams of going to the States to be a pro wakeboarder. And my old man just sat me down after school. I left school at 15. I said, I'm done. I want to go to the States. And my dad just sat me down and gave me the most important piece of advice I've ever received. He said, get something behind you, get a trade behind you, and then go chase your dreams. You know, it's something to fall back on, something to have. Man, the first time in my life I listened to my dad, and turned out to be the best thing I ever did. Did my 4-year apprenticeship, then I went over to the States. My buddies were still there, sort of chasing their dreams. And in any sports, you know, the top 1 or 2% make 90% of the money. And I was never good enough, dude. I knew that, but I still got to go over there and hang out with the boys. And while I was over there, I had cash from plumbing, right? So got my skydiving license. I started jumping out of like helicopters and hot air balloons, and sort of fell in love with that skydiving scene. And man, I've traveled the world with action sports, but it all comes back to the fact that I got that trade, man. I'm still on the tools. I sort of would work like 6 months of the year, or maybe like 9 months on the tools, and then take 3 months off and just rage around America, jumping out of hot air balloons and snowboarding and surfing. It's been pretty good, man. And then obviously, you know, that's where the content sort of stuff came about, right? Like before that word influencer was even a word, you know.
It's a weird word, bro.
And I hate it, man. I hate it because back in the day, we would get sort of, you know, you'd get the odd bit of money. I mean, especially my best buddies, like they were, you know, pro wakeboarders. They were getting, well, I think my buddy Jeff at one point was getting 100 grand a year or 150 grand a year through sponsorship, right? But he was at the top of his game. Unless you were at that good at a sport, you weren't getting paid. But I guess I got paid through social media to create content. Like, here's this product. Can you take it to the top of Mount Ruapehu and get a photo? Okay. Or I've got can you jump out of a plane and drink this beer at the end of it? And it's like, man, it changed my life. It was like, now I'm getting paid to do this. But it was good. I got to work. I got to do some of the social media stuff, which I loved the creativity of that. And then I would travel the States as well. So it's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
That's wicked. So you were working here as a plumber. You were wakeboarding overseas?
Yeah, I never worked in America. Never worked. It was just purely, I would work my ass off here for like 8 or 9 months, save up, and then I'd shoot over there. And I had so many friends over there. It didn't cost me too much to be there.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, but like, you know, I don't have a house. I didn't have a girlfriend for a long, long time. I still don't have a girlfriend. So like, I didn't have kids. So that was my passion. That was my dream. And, you know, I guess a lot of people sort of settled down and you know, I still haven't. I'm still raging.
That's cool.
I mean, I got back from America on Monday. It's funny.
Yeah.
I've sort of transitioned now. A lot of my friends have retired from that action sports scene, and one of my really good friends is a country music artist out of Nashville. And I'm a photographer, so I jump on tour with him. The last 3 years I've gone on tour with him, and you know, we're playing shows with Gary Allen in front of like, you know, 4,000 or 5,000 people, and I'm on stage with my camera, and I'm like, this is the closest I'm going to get to being a rock star. It's epic. I love it.
Oh, bro, I saw that post on your Instagram.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's good, eh?
I'm a bit of a cowboy fan myself.
Yeah, man. I love Nashville, dude. It's like my second home.
So, man, there's a lot to unpack in that, bro. I just want to come back to your old man's advice.
Yeah.
Because my old man gave me the same advice. Now, it seems that your trade and then doing your apprenticeship, man, that to fall back on it, that sets you up to follow your passion. I remember Dan Hooker, we had a talk not that long ago out at a school in Manukau, and that was what he was talking about. He was like, he didn't get a trade, but he had, I think he was doing bench tops. He hated it.
Trade, still a trade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
but in the
yeah.
trades.
He hated it, but he needed it. He needed it because he had to support his passion. His passion was fighting. Couldn't afford to go and fight. You know, you couldn't afford to go and chase wakeboarding, but it was that trade that enabled that.
100%, man. Yeah, for sure. And then, yeah, I guess that's sort of how the trade tour started. I don't know if you want me to dive into that.
Let's segue straight
Yeah,
into that, bro.
The trade tour, man, probably one of the proudest things I've ever done. My buddy Logan Dodds, one of my best mates, Logan Dodds, and I were heading back from we were on a road boys trip back from Taupo, and we were like, man, we've been lucky, very lucky with, our dads pushing us into the trades, and we've traveled the world and we've done some pretty incredible things. But we're like, man, it all comes back to the fact that we're plumbers. We're both plumbers. We're true and true. And, we're sort of like, man, how could we give back to the next generation? How could we help educate and inspire young kids to follow in our footstep, or get a trade, or get something behind them,
Yep.
And that's where the trade tour was born. We sort of dabbled it and we tested it. And we went on the road for sort of, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, and we did 10 schools. We jumped in a camper van, and the message was pretty much, the message has stayed the same. It's you don't have to go to university to be successful. And it's been,
Amen.
Dude, we're like 6 or 7 years in. Logan sort of moved to Australia, and he's sort of handed me the reins now, but it's one of the proudest things I've ever done. I mean, we both, a part of the first year, we're like, let's go and talk at our old schools. And he's like, really? And I was like, let's go. So we called up the schools. They said, we'd love to have you. And we both, it's one of the proudest moments of my life. The school that I was asked to leave, I don't talk about that, but I was asked to leave school at 15. You're just wasting your time. Get out of here. We went back into that school and stood on stage in front of 400 kids and was like, hey, this is what I've done with my life. You could do the same too if you work hard. And obviously, that's, I mean, I haven't just got where I've got by freaking pure luck or joy, I've busted my ass and, broken a lot of bones and done all that, and you know how it is. But, man, the trades changed my life, and I'm forever grateful of it.
Man, that's a great way to give back, bro. I just saw another post so that was 10 schools you did on your first tour.
Yeah.
And then now I think you've racked up 150.
150 schools, man, around New Zealand.
All up and down the country.
Man. I've from Invercargill way up to Kirikiri. Like we've done it all, man. We've been to the West Coast. We've been to Karamea, which is the furthest, one of the most remote places in New Zealand. We've done the West Coast. We've done the East Coast. I've done the East Cape. I did that last year. It was all affected by the floods and stuff, so I wanted to give back and went and took some t-shirts from one of our sponsors. Reese Plumbing gave me a whole lot of t-shirts, so I went and gave those to the kids, and it's been really cool, man.
You had a powerful statement, bro. You don't need to go to university to be successful.
100%. It's so true, man.
Can you just go into that a little bit?
For so long it was, the doctors and the lawyers were put on a pedestal. I mean, I remember when I was 18 years old and I'd go out to town and some cute girl had asked me, what do you do? I was embarrassed to say I was a plumber. I truly was, man. And I would, for so long, and Logan said the same thing. And it wasn't till about, sort of 24, 25 that I was like, you know what, after all the extreme sports I do, when anyone asks me what I do, even now, what do you do? I say, I'm a plumber. Amazing. And I'm so proud of it. Amazing. Because I think there's been that massive shift in the trades, and people are starting to realize that tradies are making incredible money, have strong employment prospects, and we're not going to get smoked out by AI. And I think we're being put on a pedestal, and that was the whole reason we started this trade tour. We wanted to put the trades on a pedestal and say, hey, we're proud of what we do. We work our asses off. We can be outside with our shirts off and get a tan. Imagine sitting in an office all day, man.
Can't imagine it, bro.
Couldn't it, bro? No way.
Yeah.
So, that's with 100%, man. That's what it is.
Oh, wicked. Yeah, AI, bro, crazy.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, man. You've got apps like Xero. You've got, back in the day, not even back in the day, 2 years ago, someone would have to write an entire law contract, right? It would take some junior or someone a day or a week. You could have that done with AI in 5 minutes, man. It's scary how many jobs are about to be completely axed by AI. They thought back in the day, the blue-collar worker would be replaced by artificial intelligence. They thought robots would be building houses and doing that. Bro, I don't see in my lifetime or our future kids' lifetime anyone else getting under a house and doing what
Nah.
we do, drilling holes, you know, renovating. You don't get a robot to renovate a house.
No way.
Re-roof
No way.
it, you know, do drainage.
Yeah.
It was another one of the things I say to these kids is it's not for the rest of your life. It's just what's
Yes.
next. You know, get a trade, get something behind you.
Exactly.
And the world is your, hate to say it, bro. It's cliche. And as much as we love
that's-
oysters, bro, the
Yeah,
world is
yeah.
your oyster with a
That's
trade
it.
behind you. And it's like I
Definitely.
said, it's not forever. You just do it for however long. And while you're figuring out, you know, you're at 18 or 17, you don't know what you're up to.
No.
You know, kids get forced into university and then they rack up these big student loans and then they might go, oh shit, actually that's not for me. But hey, like we both know the trades aren't for everyone. You know, you've got to be a bit hearty and you've got to have a tough skin and you got to be physically willing to go and give it your all because it's not hard. It's hard.
Yeah, and it definitely helps if your old man's in the trades. Like your old man was a
Totally.
sparky.
Yep.
My old man was a builder. So man, and it all comes back to that advice.
Yep.
Get a trade, something as a backup.
And not every
something you
kid,
can
not
fall
every
back on.
kid has a dad like us or like Logan. You know, we were lucky enough. You know, Logan's dad passed away when he was 18, but he gave him that advice before he passed away. And I know that was one of the most powerful things he said too. You know, get a trade. He said you can leave school if you get a trade.
Yep.
Same with my dad, but
Yeah.
not every kid has that. I know some kids, you know, unfortunately have accountants as dads, and they don't know how to fix things around the house, or they don't know. They honestly imagine, bro. My dad used to build us go-karts and make stuff, and it was like, imagine having to pay someone to come around and change your light bulb.
Especially in the big cities.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Auckland's becoming a big city. Like rural New Zealand they're pretty sweet. Farmers, similar to tradies, you know. But
People don't give farmers enough credit, man. Those
Nah.
boys are the hardest working guys I know.
Yep.
Seriously.
4
Shout out
a.m.,
to
5
any of you farmers out there. You guys
time.
literally get after it, man.
oh
The
yeah,
backbone of this country.
fencing contractors,
Yeah.
dairy farmers, milking cows. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Early starts, late finishes.
Yeah, man.
I know in building we would start at 7, would finish at 5:30.
Whoa. Well,
Yeah, well,
I'm 8 till 3, cuz.
I was gonna say, bro, 8 till 3. That sounds amazing.
At the
Sounds like
moment,
primary school.
at the moment, I'm contracting, so we're sort of 7:30 till 4:30. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a contractor, and I have a lot of other stuff going on as well.
Yes.
Like today, you got this, or I have. So contracting for me has been the dream. I don't have to take on my own work. I've got my first boss, Eddie. He's an absolute champ. He's a really good friend of mine now, and he started I was his first apprentice, and then he got to about 30 guys, sold the business, and a couple of years later he started another one. He wants to keep it nice and small, and it's great. There's like 4 of us or 5 of us, and it's epic, man. He just, I help them out most weeks, and then if I need to go away, I just give him a bit of notice, and it's worked out so good for me. So I really appreciate the work he's given me. It's good.
And I guess so you're a contractor, so you work for yourself.
Yep.
Self-employed, and
Yep.
most good tradies are self-employed.
Totally.
And so we're businessmen, small businessmen, and you could easily make it a big business, but it's hard to work in other industries and be self-employed.
Yeah.
Some
tradies are better businessmen than other tradies, though, and that's something that I never was taught at school, and it's something I touch on a little bit in the trade tour. But if you're a really smart kid, because they say to the trade, the harder kids like myself, I had ADD, dyslexia, I struggled through school, so it was like, oh, you'd be a good tradie, and it's like, whoa, hang on, imagine taking the really smart kids that are still hands-on and making them tradies too.
Yeah.
The other ones who are going to own those big businesses. Because, man, honestly, like, I couldn't do what Eddie does. Like, I watched the way he runs his business, and I'm like, far out. It's a lot over my head, some of the stuff,
Yeah.
But I'm great on the tools, and that's my strength. But it's not all of us are businessmen. And
you're
it's
right.
not something you get taught at school, that you kind of need both if you want to be very successful. Anyone can be a tradie, but to take it to that next level, you need those really good business skills.
And it's almost like, oh, you didn't make it in uni, or you didn't make it here, oh, fall back to a trade.
Yeah.
It's like second or third rate, where it clearly isn't.
No, man.
It definitely isn't. Like I guess with your old man and my old man.
My old man's a prime example of being a terrible businessman, but an amazing tradie. Seriously,
Yeah.
man.
It's
My
that
old man,
generation,
honestly,
it's that
seriously,
generation,
my old
though.
man's the hardest working man I know.
Yeah.
I've never met someone that works as hard as him, but he hasn't made the right business moves, and he's comfortable. They live comfortably, but it's like, man, he could have been much better off if he knew how to do his taxes properly, or knew how to work the system. And for sure. So it's something you've really got to learn early in your trade, I think, is how to run a business.
For sure.
There's definitely courses for that.
For sure. But success in business, bro, it seems like he
Comes
helped.
down
He
to
raised.
hard work.
Seems like he raised you pretty well, bro.
Yeah, well, bro, that's they had it tough with me for a long time. That's for sure, man. I was a wild child. I didn't come right till I was about 18.
Yeah. Oh, you've come right,
Yeah,
have you?
I've come right. I've
good
come
on you,
right,
bro.
but I was out the gate, mate. Out the gate.
Oh, shucks. So you got your old man. I guess your old man and my old man, they're similar
They're
gen.
hearty, bro.
They're hard, and then they raised us to not. Yeah.
Your old man probably raised you a bit tougher than my old boy raised me.
Yeah. Well, we were. Yeah. We always. I felt
Where'd
like.
you grow up?
I grew up in Rewa, Manurewa. Yeah.
I grew up in Devonport, bro.
Devonport. Yeah, but we still had so my old man's he's a Scotsman.
Yeah.
He's a first gen born here. He's a Kiwi born Scotsman, and he didn't pull any punches, bro. Like not physically, but just I worked for him. I did my apprenticeship with him and the crew, Brown Brothers out south, and I always felt he was picking on me a little bit. But I look back now and I'm definitely better for it, bro. What about you and your apprenticeship or your old man?
Yeah, my old man's so soft, man. He's probably the most kind, caring. He's probably not hard enough. You
Damn.
know? I remember I got a funny story, man. I remember there's a time I was 14 and I stole my mum's. Dad had gone out with mum, and me and my buddy jumped in my mum's BMW and we took it around the block, and I freaking crashed it, bro. Smashed the wheel into the curb, and I limped it home. Get it in the garage, and the babysitter calls my parents. My dad comes home with my mate's dad. Two of the boys come home, and my old man was fuming. And my old man goes, and just couldn't. Then my mate's dad just starts beating my mate, like a light beat, like we deserved it. Like I wished my dad had given me a hiding. My buddy got a hiding, and my old man's he's just always been very soft, very he's a good bugger, he is, but he's installed that work ethic in me, man. Like he is the hardest working man I know. Like he has, when he has days off, he sits around the house and he's just cleaning, he's doing something. And I mean, I wish I had that same work ethic. I mean, I'm happy just to have a day off and go surfing or go skydiving. He won't even take a day off to go fishing anymore. He just feels so guilty. It's like, man, you've worked your ass off. That old school generation, it's gone. It is gone. You know, with that, they just worked. You know, and now this younger generation, and I'm part of it. I mean, I think I'm part of that younger generation where we don't have that similar work ethic. We're always ready to take the easy way out. And I think it's getting worse and worse and worse. And then I'm seeing it in the trades as well. The younger kids don't want to work. I mean, nowadays kids want to be influencers. Kids see online. It's like I asked my nephew, "What do you want to be on?" I want to be an influencer.
You can't fall back
I'm like,
on being an influencer.
that was never a thing, man. I fell into it, and I'm like, hey, look, yes, it's helped me. Yes, it's been cool, but I never would have, in a million years, dreamed. I mean, it's a very small part of what I do, but imagine wanting to be an influencer.
It's tough because what are you going to influence people to do if you've never done anything?
Exactly, man. You've 100%. We fell into it. And I hate that word influence. I mean, I'm an influencer in the trades with the kids, and I think that's super cool.
I think for you, with your trade and with your lifestyle, and then how you're trying to push a good narrative. Yeah. I think you're an ideal influencer, bro. That word, I'm the same.
Yeah. And so with you, with what you're doing with the kids and your boxing and your fighting and teaching kids to be safe, to work hard.
So what do you think the difference between, I know it's a massive shift from our father's generation to this new generation, and we're somewhere in the middle. I was going to say we're more to the new gen, but to be honest, bro, I think we're smack in the middle.
We are.
We still have a pretty good work ethic, but we know when enough is enough with work. Yeah. See, like your dad, my dad did work Saturdays, half day. They'd miss out on fishing trips, time with their friends, family time.
100%.
And they didn't think that was a problem. They thought, that's just normal because that's how my father did it. That's how I'm going to do it. And we're in that middle gen where we're like, well, we still want time for our sport. We want time with our family or our missus or our boys. I need that time,
Me
bro.
too. Fishing, diving. the ocean, surfing.
You know, exactly. You know, we need to have something like that. So, yeah.
They also didn't have social media, like, and I'm a sucker for it, man. Like, I'm on site and Smoko comes, I'm scrolling, I get a message, I'll reply to it. Like, I would be a lot more efficient if I didn't have my phone on me. And I know, and I see it with the other kids too. Like, they are on their phones constantly. And as soon as the boss goes away, bang, on your phone. Like, I know mine is my work too. Like, I'm constantly uploading stuff for social, for work. But it's like, my old man didn't have that distraction. Your old man never had that distraction.
I see.
At Smoko, the boys are all sitting there like this. No one's talking. It's like Smoko comes and it's like this. Constantly, boom, back to work, phone goes down. Whereas back in the day, man, we'd be chatting with the boys, telling funny stories, and it's that's another generation shift. That's a scary thing.
Yeah, it's almost it's almost antisocial,
100%.
right?
It really is.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, that's something, I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if we can fix that, but unless you're at a cool job site, maybe tell the boys, hey, Smoko, we're going to put our phones down, we're going to chat.
That's a great
That'd be
idea,
a cool
bro.
thing to do. But yeah, I'm a sucker for it. I sit there at Smoko and I'm like, instead of talking to the boys.
I'm similar. I understand that. That's a lot of it's probably most of it's your work.
Yeah.
And then we
but
do.
no, I mean, it's not. Yeah, I say that, but it's it's still, I still doom scroll when I shouldn't be.
Let's say half of it's work
totally,
sometimes.
Totally.
But then I guess it's a top down thing. Like same as my son, he'll see me on the socials. I'll be doing half of it work, like we say, bro. But then he won't be, or the young fellas won't be. But they'll see us on their phone, and then so they'll be like, oh well, he's on his phone, I can jump on my phone. So, bro, that's a great idea. Maybe phones down, Smoko some days, or
this could be a whole nother little campaign there, eh? We could start an entire campaign, put our phones down, let's interact, let's be social, let's talk about little Johnny and who he hooked up with in the weekend.
Yeah.
And, tell us some stories, young boys,
bro,
Tell us about, your night out drinking Jaeger bombs at frickin'
Jaeger
the new
bombs.
country bar Jolene's up the road. Let's go,
Yeah, I think I agree, bro. I was just going to ask you what you thought about phones on the workplace. I thought there's, I guess emergency calls, sweet, but
And I'm not a boss, so it doesn't bother me. But if I was like running a big site, I would be like,
yeah, for sure, for sure. Distraction and
it's a distraction.
and
It's
antisocial.
it's more than anything. It's antisocial. Like it really is.
Have you seen guys on Smoko go to their cars, bro, and sit in their cars on their phone?
Totally, that's it. I see it all every day.
It's
It was never like that when I was an apprentice. When I was an apprentice, they'd be asking me questions. They'd be giving me shit. There was way more banter back in the day.
Yeah, I didn't realize, but I got lots of little pockets of friends around, and the more we talk, the more we connect. Like the more I hear about some people's struggles, like struggling with the missus, struggling with the kids, struggling with work, and a lot of people, if they can't talk about it, if they can't get it out, they bottle it up, take it to their car, jump on their phone, it still stays bottled up, and it's just no good for your mental health, bro.
Big time.
So
Scrolling in general is not good for your mental health. Comparing your life to somebody's fake ass life on social media. I've said this before and I'll say it again. My life, my social media is 100% a highlight reel of my life. I don't sit there and talk about the down days, the hard times. I post me snowboarding, skydiving, all the fun stuff. And so people see that and just think, oh my God, Jesse's just like so happy all the time, lives the best life. Like you said before, bro, your life's the best, Like, you don't see my bank account at the moment. That thing's completely sucked dry after my trip to America. Stressed out. I got to sell my Harley. Like, all these little things that, like, people don't see. I got to sell my dream bike because times are tough at the moment. But I keep choosing to bugger off to the States and doing these things. And, yeah, like, people think, oh, you had the best time. You do the coolest stuff. And it's like, man, it all comes at a cost, man.
Bro, it's a balance, man. You can't.
I've got the balance wrong, though. Seriously, I have had for years, bro. I've had the balance. Too much play, and this might be the year where I'm like, all right, maybe say no to another trip and just knuckle down and put in the hard mahi, which is good for me.
Well, at least you're aware of it, bro.
Totally.
Like that. Some people it'll just go straight over their head. I think what you're saying now, bro, that was me maybe a couple of years ago. You know, now my wife gave me the hard yarn, and so I'm like, oh, some things I got to turn down to stay
See,
in.
I don't have that. I don't have misses or kids or a mortgage, so it's very easy for me just to up and leave. And it's, you know, it comes, it's good, and it comes and it's bad, you know.
But again, that's where that balance comes
Totally,
in, bro.
for sure.
Yeah, it's here.
And I think even when I did have a girlfriend, I was selfish with that. Like you know, instead of spending the weekends with her doing the things I should have been doing, I was like, hey, I'm going skydiving. I'm going to go surfing. I'm going to shoot off here for a bit, you know. I didn't compromise, and that cost me big time in the end.
I still a massive believer in doing your own thing, like you're saying,
For
but
sure,
we have to. Bro.
There's a balance, though.
There
and
is a
I had the
balance.
balance
There is a
wrong.
balance.
I was selfish, and you know.
But it's normally I hear people, it's the opposite, bro. They're not doing it enough.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd hear it a lot too, bro.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
People don't go and hang out with their mates or do diving.
And I notice it so much at the moment. Like, I don't have kids, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I want them after, especially like some of my mates are doing it tough, bro. Like, I mean, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you've gone from having no kids, running a business, to having a kid or two kids, or one kid's pretty mellow, and then that second kid comes, and it's like, bro, the pressure on the relationship, the pressure on work, and I'm just like, it doesn't seem. Look, I'm sure it comes out the other end and you're amazing, you've got these two beautiful children or whatever, but I'm like, man, in this society, this day and age where things are so much, you know, life's expensive, the world's hard, like different, like I'm just seeing some friends struggling hard with kids, and I'm like, and I'm hearing it firsthand, like we talked about, man, and I'm lucky that I have a good network with my boys, and we talk, man, on our way, and there's, as tradies, and I don't know if anyone else does this, but we have that sort of half an hour window in the morning when we're sitting in traffic on our way to work, bang, on the blower. And sometimes it's 30 minutes on the blower to my best mates, just venting, and like, and we talk, and you know, it's tough out there. It's tough for some mates with kids, and you're right, they don't get that time to do the things they love because it's working with the family. It's, you know, you get home from work, you've just worked a 10-hour day, and now you've got to go and frickin' feed babies and do this, and the pressure's built up, and you've missed your invoicing because you're spending time with your son or your daughter, and it's hard, man. It's real hard. And you got back in the day, you know, my mum never worked. She was just, her sole purpose was to raise us kids, and my dad would come home from work, he'd go fishing. Mum was just so happy to sit there and look after the kids, but now because times are so much tougher, women have to work as well.
Unfortunately,
and it's tough. It's tough out there, man.
It is,
and that's putting massive pressure on, especially some of my friends that I've seen, and I'm like, you know, it's bad.
Yeah, I've heard a few people recently lost jobs.
Yep.
I ran into a builder the other day. I was buying some dive gear off him. And now it's quite sad to think that maybe the reason he was selling his dive gear was because he had no work on. And he told me he doesn't have any work on at the moment. So
I feel like we're going to come out of this. Like, I feel like we're already on a bit of a shift. I mean, I feel like we've hit rock bottom in terms of this little depression we're in, or this little look. I'm not
a recession,
or whatever we're in. I feel like if we've hit the bottom, there's only one way to go from here, and it's back up. And I feel like things are coming back a little bit for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And then I guess, like, I don't want to bring the stats up, but tradies have the highest rate of suicide in New Zealand. And then I don't know if that's because there's a lot of tradies in New Zealand, or it's because tradies are in particular doing it tough, because there's a lot of competition out there at the moment. You know, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of foreign competition.
Is that a true fact?
That's a true statement, bro.
Yeah,
tradies have the highest rate of suicide.
Out of any job?
Yes, out of
any
career. Yeah.
Okay,
on a percentage base. Yeah,
that's real interesting.
Yeah, so that's and I guess, bro, like you said.
But that's like your labourers, that's your everything, right?
Yes.
From road working, from like,
That'd be most trades,
Yeah, right on. Yeah, that's interesting, man. And that's, I don't know what that is. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, and then it could be because, I don't know, people fall back to trades, and then when you get kicked out of the office, when you get, you know, your online job is done, you can always go to a building site, or you can always go help a plumber or help a sparky or dig a hole. We can always go back to the raw, bare hands doing work, you know, and then that's always on offer, you know, like it's horrible to hear. But you mentioned just calling up your mate, 20 minutes in the car, just
Yeah.
a phone call, bro, letting off some steam.
We should all have a friend like that we can just vent to. I mean, I'm lucky I've got a bunch of them. Can just call up and just vent, and it's sad to think that some people don't have that.
Yeah.
Or that they're too I don't know, too proud to call their buddies and say, hey, look, I'm doing it tough. Because sometimes you just need to vent.
Yeah, you did right. There used to be like a narrative where tradesmen were seen as too tough to talk about that. You know? So I think that's our parents' gen. That's our dad's gen.
Yeah.
I think we're a little bit different, bro. Like you seem real secure to talk about stuff like that. And
Yeah, well, I think I'm lucky too. I've never really had any mental health issues. I've never really had depression. I mean, my mum, I've seen it in my mum. My dad's never had. No, we never have. And I sort of didn't want to talk about this too much today, but I thought I'll share like a little bit of it. And for the first time in my life, I went through a breakup about a year and a half ago, and man, I hit rock fucking bottom. And I was like, for the first time in my life, I felt anxious. I was like, what the fuck is this feeling? I was like, I never realized that a heartbreak could be that fucking devastating and that impactful on my life. So I ran off to the States for 2 weeks. I ran off to Indo surfing, and then I came back and it just hit me even harder. And I was like, oh shit. And what saved me, which almost saved my life, was being on the tools working, which is interesting, right? I crave routine and I crave structure as a male. And throughout the last few years with the trade tour and with the social stuff, when I'm not plumbing, I don't have structural routine. I might go to the gym in the morning, I might do some emails, I might have to post a food. I don't have that routine. And when I was going through that real tough time, I jumped on the tools with Eddie, and I was working with the apprentice every day. And like, I never said this to the kid, but just he almost saved my life just by being there to hang out with, talk to, just to keep me company. And like, there was days, man, where I was just crippled with anxiety, and I was like, fuck, I've never had this before. And it wasn't till I went on a stag do with Logan for Logan's wedding, and I picked Sean Johnson up in the morning. He lives on the same street as me, and he's like, Jess, how you feeling? And I was like, bro, I'm still doing it tough, man. And it's like, it hurts, it's hard. Am I ever going to get over her? And he was like, Brother Jay, I'll tell you one thing. He's like, you're not the first person to have his heart broken, and you won't be the last. He said, what you're feeling right now is so normal. And it was, honestly, that was one of the most powerful things anyone's ever said to me. I was like, wow, I think, yeah, you're right. Like, I will get through this. I will get over it. It's just a matter of time. And it just, it took its time. It did. It took a while, man. But like, I've never had any mental health issues in my life. I've never been anxious, and that frickin' rocked me, bro. Like,
came out of nowhere.
and I think, and I think that's something we probably don't talk about enough with mental health is a broken heart. And how much that can literally, my life got flipped upside down overnight, man. Like, we broke up, she moved to London, and I was like, oh, holy shit, like, it's done, it's done. And I don't know, I think that's something we don't talk about enough is, people do commit suicide over a broken heart. And it's a massive one. Yeah, sure, people go through, through patches and this and that. And I know that some mental health is a chemical imbalance in your brain, but like with just a broken heart, that shit can frickin' take a man down. I mean, it crippled me, bro. Like, I was man down for a wee while. Sweet now, but it was like, it took a while. It took a long time. And I was lucky I had good friends around me. I was I talk to my friends all the time, and I mean, they never got sick of me talking about the same shit every day. They never said, bro, just fucking get over it. They were just, so I think having a really good network is really nice, and I'm lucky I've got amazing friends around me. But yeah, I guess not everyone has that, and if I can give that same advice that Sean gave to any other lads out there that are going through a tough time, especially if it is a broken heart, like, it will get better, it will get easier, you're not the only person to go through that, or whatever you're dealing with, that shit does pass. It's always just times in our lives, and things do get better. But for me, man, it was structure, it's being on the tools. Excellent. I just like working with my hands, having a distraction, working my ass off and being exhausted at the end of the day, so I slept like a baby.
Yeah, and then, bro, man, thanks for sharing that, bro. Yeah. That's far out, that's powerful. Man, one of my friends, Tai Tupo, he works with Mike King. And I needed some advice about a couple of mates who were going through some stuff, and I called him up, and I told him, yeah, one of my mates is struggling a bit with a few mental health issues, and he goes, Rod, 80% is female trouble. He said 80% of the guys that I hear from, and then that do end up committing suicide or attempting it, is because a breakup or the kids threatening not being able to access to children.
Yeah.
And then he said the reason behind it, one of the reasons was a lot of guys, when they do get a missus, and we see it, bro, they stop hanging out with us, they stop their sport, they stop their routine,
100%.
you know, and then all their eggs are in the basket with the missus, you know, and then, bro, you take that away, and then
Got nothing.
You got, you know.
Yeah, man,
You know,
100%.
So like
It does. It can flip your world upside down overnight. You think everything's good, you know. Well, like for me, it was a slow breakup. It was like a slow burn, and it was just when we finally ripped the Band-Aid off. It was like, you know, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. But it was like, I guess for me, I had this sort of like quote. It was like, you don't know what you've got until it's gone, but the truth is, you knew exactly what you had. You just never thought you were going to lose it. And that was the truth, man. I never thought I was going to lose her, and then she finally said I had enough and walked away. And bro, fuck, it rocked me. Oof. You know, like, I mean, like, I've never had a suicidal thought in my life ever. And I remember after, like, it was a month or so after, I was riding my Harley, and I was just like, fuck, if I just rocked it into that, you know, barrier, everyone would think that I just had an accident, and no one would think I was a pussy. And that's the only time I've ever felt like that. And I didn't, but I wasn't, obviously.
Yeah.
And I would never, but it was just that little thought in my mind, man. I've never said this to anyone, and I probably won't ever say it again, but it, like, it fucking got me, bro. Like, really, really hit me hard, man. And and then, you know, a month or so later, it gets easier, and it gets easier, and it gets easier, and it's,
and then you're back to you, bro.
It still takes time. It takes a long time, though, man. Like, it's been a year and a half, and I'd be lying if I said I don't still think about it, don't still think about it, but it just gets easier and easier every day, man. I think a little bit of it too is a bit of guilt, and I could have been and I should have been a better man. So there's a lot to it, man. Obviously not going to dive into that stuff, but yeah, like, I think just processing it and having good friends around me is what really helped.
Awesome, bro.
But
that routine, bring on the tools. That's massive, bro.
Yeah,
I've never heard that.
No,
bro.
people say that. Like, that's
amazing.
because of my lifestyle. I don't have that routine all the time.
Yes.
So for other people, it might have been different. But imagine, you know, getting up, you go to the gym at 6 or 7 in the morning, and then it's like, do a couple of emails and say, what the fuck am I going to do today? And it's like, you just feel guilty. You feel like you're not achieving anything. And as a man, we need that. We need to be doing shit. I felt unemployed, you know?
Yes.
Even though, you know, the money thing was fine. The money was there. It was just, So jumping on the tools, man, saved me, bro.
Nah, excellent, bro. Jesse, bro, I think we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. Before we do wrap it up, brother, do you have any messages for young tradies out there, or young men and women looking to get into the trades?
100%, man. If I could give them any advice, it's just dive in head first. The trades can be a scary place, you know, especially if you don't have contacts like, you know, your father or, you know, cousins or friends in the trades. Jump in the yellow pages, the yellow pages, but head down to your local Bunnings, head down to your local, you know, your Reese Plumbing or your J.R. Russells, and go and ask for a job. So many kids ask me for jobs on my Instagram, and put your front foot forward. Go and put in your CV. Go and ask for a job. Go and do some work experience. You know, this is probably one of my strongest bits of advice. Rock up to a building site and go, hey, can I clean up for the first after school? Or put your front foot forward. Show up, you know, with a big smile on your face. If you want to be there, you'll get a job pretty easily.
Amazing. With the Trade Co, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you about the Trade Co?
Yeah, just via our social media. It's just a platform we created to sort of share a light or shine a light on the trades. I show a bit of my day-to-day stuff on the tools as a plumber, but you guys can contact us there. It's just Trade Up Co on Instagram. Piece of cake.
Excellent. Hey, brother, been a pleasure talking.
Yeah,
Thank
too,
you for
brother.
sharing.
You're welcome,
that was awesome.
man. Yeah, nice to meet you, man.